So moving forward, now I would like to invite Reema Nanavaty, Executive Director of Self-Employed Women Association, SEWA. Reema Nanavaty is an Indian social worker known for her humanitarian services as one of the leaders of Self-Employed Women Association alongside leaders like Meera Chatterjee, Rinana Jabwala. She was honored by the Government of India in 2013 by bestowing on her the Padma Shri, one of the highest civilian award for her contribution to the field of social service. Delighted to have you as a speaker today, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And it's a real honor and privilege to be invited to this very important summit that is being organized by Adgully. I stand here representing the 93% of the workforce of our country, whom we call the informal economy. Let me show you a glimpse of these workers. Madhuraji, can you show the two small videos, please?
હું મુબારકબેન સિપાઈ હું બીજાના ખેતરમાં કામે જતી હતી માંડ 70 રૂપિયા કમાતી હતી મારા ઘરવાળાની ને મારી આવક ભેગી કરતી હતી તો ઘર નહોતું ચાલતું મને એમ થાય કે હું એક દાડો ધંધો કરું એક દાડો મારા ગામમાં સેવાની બહેનો આવી મેં લવાજમ ભરીને સેવા સંગઠનમાં જોડાઈ પછી 10 બહેને ભેગી થઈને બચત મંડળ બનાવી હું અત્યારે અમારી રૂડી કંપનીની રૂડી બેન છું પગે હેડીને તો કેટલું વેચાણ થાય એક ગામ કે બે ગામ એટલે જ બચત મંડળમાંથી લોન લઈને સ્કૂટર લાવી આજે હું 12 ગામમાં ફરીને મહિનામાં 50,000 થી 1 લાખનું વેચાણ કરું છું દાણો દાણો એનો ચોખ્ખો બાપ પુરુને ભાવમાં સસ્તો અમારું સેવા સંગઠન જિંદાબાદ ઘર ઘરની શોભા વધારે રૂડી અમારી મૂડી રૂડી.
Thank you so much. So these are the kinds of women that I am referring to. And these are the workers who contribute so much to the GDP of the nation and yet hardly have any voice, visibility, or validity as a worker, especially the informal sector women workers. These women are the micro-entrepreneurs of India, the street vendors, the handloom weavers, salt miners, the construction workers, the kite makers, the bead rollers, and so on, with whom I believe most of us must be interacting on daily basis in some way or the other. So we at SEWA are a trade union of over 1.8 million such women self-employed workers from the informal economy. We were established in 1972 with the main goal of full employment and self-reliance of our members. We will be now almost 5 decades old in 2022. The reality of these workers is such that they are generally the poorest of the poor. Their tools are old and worn out, and they hardly have any information about or access to direct market. The employment opportunities available in the informal economy are never constant due to severe competition, market trends, changing economic policies, and further compounded now by climate change. In such situations, these informal sector workers have to often pursue more than one trade. Innovation has become a coping strategy for survival of these informal sector women workers. She may start making kites in one season, while she may work as a construction worker in another season, depending on what is more conducive at what point of time. Their trades, inventories, supply chain, even the business models change 9 to 12 times per year. And this calls for tremendous planning for these informal sector workers. Also, I think for these informal sector workers to access decent employment in today's world of work, There is a need for education that leads to vocational skill development that serves as a link between education and employment. In fact, the young members of SEVA are very clear that they do not want to study for degrees and aspire for jobs, but wanted education to improve their productivity and quality of work and help them to be better workers and citizens. Clearly, the stakes are high, and a concerted effort is required by all in the society. As our founder Elaben Bhatt says, no skill should be allowed to be redundant or obsolete from a skill rich country like ours. There's so much opportunity in all our core employment sectors for one and all. Where are the investments in such areas, the traditional skills, the local resources? And also, our experience at SEVA shows that poverty is the worst form of violence perpetuated by the consent of the society. We believe that to be poor is to be vulnerable. The, the condition of being poor, of being self employed, and of being a woman are all distinct and yet interrelated states of vulnerability. Poverty makes one become a chronic victim of forces beyond one's control. With every misfortune, problems compound, leaving one increasingly powerless or setting in motion uh, a spiral descent into poverty. Only work, a steady source of income, and asset ownership can break one's fall. I don't want to paint a very dull and a gloomy picture, but I'm just trying to explain the reality of the women workers that I work with. But these are the micro entrepreneurs. But how do we also work on generating livelihoods for the majority of the workforce in our country? And we do this by building their collective strength and bargaining power. So let me give you some examples. We have about close to 30,000 women artisans who do exquisite embroidery, chicken curry work, the embroidery, other kinds of embroidery. But they had only never thought of turning this into an opportunity for livelihood, for work and income security. So today we have Seva Trade Facilitation Center, which is a Section 8 company where the shareholders are these women artisans, and they have their own brand Hansiba, which has online presence and also stores in some of the larger cities with a turnover of close to 7 crores Indian rupees. We also saw that the young women no longer want to continue uh, being in their traditional costumes. They aspire to be also, in sync with the changing times. And so we now have a rural fashion line, which is called Harki. Likewise, we have small farmers and agriculture workers, and we have a for-profit company of close to 25,000 small farmers. And we have a cadre of 4,500 saleswomen who are landless women, but who do sales and marketing. As you saw in the film, how Mubarak Ben has become a Rudy Ben. And this company now has a turnover of 25 crores of rupees. Likewise, we have company which provides access to energy, clean and renewable energy. And in order to have, sustained work and income, you need build a cadre of grassroots managers. So we have Seva Management School. So these young workers also have natural affinity to modern tech-savvy employment opportunities. So how do you also generate newer employment opportunities using the digital technology? So we partnered with Airbnb, and today the rural homes of these very young women are turned into, Airbnb homes. And not one, two, but we have 200 such homes. And these rural women provide hospitality to all the guests which come from far and wide. And this has become a source of employment and livelihood. I was just listening to the previous session, which just concluded, where I believe you were discussing on the impact of COVID. And I think COVID has been very destructive to these kind of informal workers. But how do we turn that adversity also into an opportunity? And therefore, our Rudy, which started providing ration kits in the villages till the government relief came. And this gave an opportunity for Rudy to scale threefold. And we now have our own mobile application, a mobile ERP system, so that they are able to do real-time inventory management with the payment integration through Google Pay and Paytm. So we have real-time sales and inventory management happening. Likewise, the children were all out of school, and everybody needed some or the other form of snack. So some 500 women started making dry snacks at home. They were immediately trained into quality control, packaging, and branding. And then they started providing small packets of nutritive snacks under the brand of Kamala. We also have e-module sessions where the women were trained into social distancing, into hygiene aspects. And but I think what we need to discuss today with all these young women entrepreneurs and CEOs, and the disruption has to come from the women themselves. How can women come together under one umbrella? Be it the micro entrepreneurs like Mubarak Ben that we saw, and they all come online, or whether it's an offline retail sales under one common umbrella. And you may have different brands, but how do we have an apex collective marketing body? And that's how collectively we will be able to reach newer markets, distant markets, national markets, and regional markets. And that is what I think Seva is working to build an umbrella Seva Bazaar, which has an online presence today on 5 different platforms, and also retail presence in different states as well. So I think the message here is that social enterprises as well as digital social enterprises are the way forward to a just, dignified, and a secured future of work. And this is what, and I think, as we rightly heard in the previous session, that the future is in the hands of women. And we ought to make this future, carve out a new economic pathway, which is an economy of nurturance. We have seen that everybody talks about growth, growth, and growth. And we don't want growth at the cost of somebody else's growth. But let us all women come together. Let us all women entrepreneurs come together and build a whole new economic model with an economy of nurturance. I thank you so much, and I really congratulate the awardees who will be felicitated as well, and giving me this opportunity to share the message on behalf of the millions of self-employed women of our country. Thank you.